Okay, hi everybody, and welcome to the APAC-SCA Member Spotlight Series. Where we showcase the people and the organization driving innovation in cellular agriculture. Throughout short interviews, we'll be exploring their work, their insights, and their contribution to the industry growth. So, in today's session, we are very pleased to feature Yuki Hanyu, who's the CEO and founder of IntegriCulture, who will share his perspectives on the future of cellular agriculture and the exciting work that takes place at
Yeah.
IntegriCulture. So welcome, Yuki, and it's nice to have you here today. So it's been about 6 to 8 months since our last
Mm.
conversation. Could you maybe please share, provide us with the latest development from IntegriCulture up to date?
First, thank you very much for the opportunity to be here at this interview. And past 6, 8 months has been I would say, quite steady for us. I'm sure if we updated this on 6 or 8 months ago, but so we basically our the financial year ends at end of September, and we basically found ourselves to be like profitable for the past financial year. So that was the update about, I would say, 6 months ago. So maybe we talked about this like last time or not. And yeah, since then, there has been two major progresses, and one is gaining the full stack capability of being a CRDMO, partially in collaboration with Cell Agritech. That is, we have been the contract research organization, CRO, and also a supplier. But by partnering with Cell Agritech, we also gained the development and manufacturing capability as well, especially on the manufacturing. Um, and On top of that, we have been in, we basically finally came to a position to provide a full stack infrastructure to clients. And that comes to the second part of our major updates. And the other part is our deployment of sake brewery micro plants. What I mean is, what we recently found is that, well, probably some people know about the Japanese rice wine or sake, and there's a thing called sake leaves as a byproduct, which is kind of like a waste fermented rice, but that has always been kind of a headache for sake breweries, but we found out that we can upcycle that as culture medium or basal medium for cell cultured food products. So we combined with our infrastructure, and infrastructure being the whole set of materials and equipment, we can actually make cell cultured food based on upcycled sake leaves. And that carries significance not from the actual on the upstream unit economics, but more on the downstream added value part, because the sake leaves and the cell culture being conducted by sake breweries, that carries all the regional or history, context, and the materials brand. So because we're talking about local spring water and local rice as the ingredient for cell cultured food. So we are finding more, if that's the right word, brandability or something, yeah, as for this particular cell cultured food products. So that's the second part of our major update of sort of finding an application for our full stack infrastructure that can potentially catch like uh, uh, real consumer value. Uh, yeah,
Okay.
and there was similar conversation ongoing in many across the country. So it's not just one pilot success case.
Well, yeah. Huge congrats, Yuki. It seems that you have a lot of developments happening. And so maybe we can segue into Japan a little bit and talk
Mm,
about there's a lot of news or some news coming out from Japan lately, mainly the
mm,
draft framework for
yeah.
regulation. So it appears that satellite in Japan is gaining traction.
Mm,
Is this a sentiment that you share, and how do you foresee Japan's role in the future
mm.
of the industry?
Yeah. So about the sentiment on cellular agriculture in Japan, because there has not been hype to start with, so we are not seeing much of like severe trough of disillusionment, so-called. It has been always been like an uphill battle, and with little funding in the beginning. So because if you could imagine what would the hype cycle would look like minus the initial hype. So, but at the same time, we are seeing some like steady long-term collaboration and like support from governments and like existing companies. So on that part, I would say uh, people are prepared to go for the long game. And Japan's innate strength is more in the manufacturing and materials, um, um, and we are seeing more collaborations from that side on hardware and materials, such as our oxy-through cultivator, which is made only made possible because someone had this oxygen permeable rubber materials that was originally used for automotive applications.
Okay. And segueing into the perspective of the long term, sort of being
Mm,
in from Japan's perspective, the cultivated food sector has experienced both, I'll say, significant excitement and also
mm,
challenges. So, what
yeah.
developments give you the most confidence today about the industry future?
Yeah. So my biggest confidence is in go is goes to the existence of certain or especially government and uh, sizable amount of people who has not lost confidence in cellular agriculture. So, well, partially no hype, no trough of disillusionment, partially, but that means the only way is up. So, things being steady, gradually picking up, always an uphill battle with little money, but things ongoing. So, yeah. So
Okay.
I think we are in the right track on that in that sense.
Yep. And so for IntegriCulture, what are your key priorities for the remainder of 2026 and going into 2027?
Yeah, so we have like two internal sort of like slogans. One is the technology that reduces capex. That's one. And the other is a narrative that creates value. Yeah, so obviously that narrative that creates value, the sake brewery,
Mhm.
lease upcycling, it goes to that, and like technology that that lowers capex, that goes to things like oxy-through cultivators and our micro plant. And, and that's I think it's critically what I think is critically important is that even if the technology is like demonstrated and like with a good track record, uh, things can seriously go wrong as long as the capex is high, like what happens with the like large-scale nuclear power stations.
Sure. And
So, yeah.
yeah, and you have been a very strong advocate for collaboration across the
Mm,
satellite ecosystem. And so, what
yeah,
kind of partnerships do you think are the most important for you to
yeah.
accelerate the industry growth?
Yeah. So our priorities, because for being a cell agriculture company, our priority has always been the priority for wider cell agriculture industry as well, and that goes to hardware, like hardware to do like bioprocessing hardware. So more specifically, bioreactors, but like I think the listeners also know about, have heard about all the debates surrounding the actual viability of stirred tank bioreactors. So we probably need a radically different style of bioreactor that we may not recognize as a bioreactor anymore. That's potentially this kind of novel engineering designs and novel bioprocess designs. I think these are what needs to be like resolved as well, and that is long-term stuff. So people say SpaceX has been very fast, but even they took 20 years.
Sure.
So I think that's the sort of the time scale we have to talk about when it comes to large-scale hardware under novel principles.
Yeah, absolutely. And for the final question, uh, if you could leave the policymaker, the investors, and the industry
Mm,
stakeholders with one
yeah.
message about the future of satellite, what would it be?
Yeah. So one message to the investors and stakeholders. Yeah. So as you know, the hype cycle has crashed, but that also leaves us up being the only way things can go. So I think that's where we are.
Thank you, Yuki. Pleasure to have you. And if
Mm,
there's any question, please do reach out to Yuki directly or myself, and I can refer to Yuki. Thank you very
mm.
much. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.